The year is coming to a close, um, but this end of the year is going to be a little more special and intense than normal. Um, Recently, we had on December 12th, it was the 12/12 day, and this year, 2019, is a 12 year. If you add the two and the one, it becomes a number three as well, which is very spiritual. Um, but mostly this all signifies the completion of a major cycle and a major bunch of lessons, and one probably major lesson related to this ending. Next year is 2020, which is a 22 year, which is a big spiritual number. It's the master builder number. I think that everything, all the shadow work that happened in this last year, is leading us into the possibility for much more health and stability in the coming year. So, anyway, it's finals week. So, this is like end of the testing, seeing where we're at as we move forward. I did this reading to kind of check on like what were everyone's major lessons that they're finishing up, what were the major cycles, what's your finals week entailing, and how are you doing on your lesson learning. So I know that was kind of a bit of an intro, but anyway, let's check out finals week, end of the year. So showing you icons for the piles, or objects or whatever. That word just came into my head. I'm just going with it. Tangerine quartz, pile one. Pile two is the tiny feather. Pile three is the labradorite. There we go. All right, timestamps are going to be in the description. Take a minute, pick your pile, and we're going to get started. Okay, first up, tangerine quartz. Right as the time hit 2:22. So, very good. What's your finals week about? What are the lessons you need to learn? What is the major cycle that you are completing, pile one? We will see. Lovely. This looks really nice. Lizard is your animal card that you got. Lizard has to do with, I think, creativity, being artistic, being unique. But also, I think the lizard is very stoic and waits, waiting for guidance. So you may be in this. Looking at the rest of this, waiting is a theme here. We have the Three of Wands. Wands is waiting for your ships to come in, sending out that, is it a hawk? Probably, yeah. Three of Wands is like standing up on a hillside after you have put something out to the universe and you're waiting for it to come back. So we have the lizard waiting, we have the Three of Wands waiting. Then here, I mean, I'll have to just go straight to this, the sun. And the sun is like the most positive card possible. So I would say overall, you've done really, really well. The ending of this year is going to be really positive. You may have had difficulties. Again, there was a lot of shadow work this past year. There was a lot of healing that needed to happen. There were a lot of wounds that got opened or reopened. There were a lot of battles, like spiritual battles, but it looks like you've come through it with flying colors, really. You have one reversed card here that I'll get to that might give more details on what the difficulties were that you worked through. But we do also have the Seven of Wands, which has to do with fighting for what you believe in, fighting and standing up for yourself, standing your ground. And with this card, the light really is getting me, like, with the sun and with that little flame. It's like you were burning through this darkness. You were holding on to your light the whole time. Through whatever really harsh difficulties you encountered, whatever purges you had to go through, you just really stood your ground. And you just really stably, like, waited for what was right for you. So I'm gonna go and get into the reverse card you have here, which is the Laume. Um, and I feel like this has something to do with the difficulty. So let me see here. Unconditional giving, unconditional receiving. If you're stuck or blocked in a situation and the Laume turns up in a reading, you probably need to stop focusing on what you are trying to accomplish and simply give to others. Now that's the upright, and I feel like the reverse may be that you're giving too much to others. That can be a possibility. Yeah, so reversed. Yeah, this reading is pretty good. Because this is about, have you been giving too much to other people and not enough to yourself? And maybe that was, I feel like maybe that was your lesson here. And the sun can have to do with self and self-love. It can be a Leo card, it can be a Pisces card as well. And with the lizard, I feel like that creativity is there. So this is about choosing yourself. That was kind of like what your lesson was, which is very common. I mean, a lot of us are kind of going through that in different ways, but yeah, that was basically what you had to learn and what you did learn. So when you go forward into this next year, you'll be able to take that self-love and build on it, and find yourself in a more stable, successful place because you went through this. This says, alternatively, ask yourself if you've been refusing to receive the bounty of the universe flowing through the Laume's hands because it wasn't quite the form that you expected or because it was from a different source than you wanted it to come from. Sometimes we put restrictions on our receiving. For example, you may feel that approval and love has to come from one specific person or all other approval and love is without value to us. If so, we need to learn to accept what comes from any source as coming from a loving universe. So yeah, those are two really great things to think about. Are you waiting for something that is what you think of as your abundance and coming from a certain place, and are you missing that it's coming from somewhere else? I don't really feel that much like that with this. I'm going to clarify it with a couple other cards, but I feel like you really got the self-love lesson, and now you're just like waiting to see what's next. Like you're standing in self-love and you're feeling good and you're feeling like also assertive, and feeling good about being true to who you are, and you're just waiting for your next spiritual lesson. So let's clarify it with the Game of Thrones. Oh my gosh, look at this. 7 of Spears, twice. Standing up for yourself. Look at that. That's awesome. Yeah, wow, cool. Right away, clarifying card is just with the rest of this. Yeah, you were learning to stand up for yourself. Stand up for yourself, stand up for your creativity, your ideas. I just looked at the lizard really quick, and it has to do with being artistic and spiritual as well. And it says overstimulation can drain you. So yeah, I think that you have just like stood your ground. This is who I am. And now you're just waiting for your next part of your guidance. One more clarifier. Knave of Pentacles, which is the Page of Pentacles. Very cute kitty with the golden ball. So I think what's coming for you in the next year is starting new creativity. I feel like the lizard and the cat look similar here too. You're going to be taking all this self-love and using it creatively to start something new, some new project that's based around more like you and what you want and what you need and what you know is right for you. So, yeah, I think that's all there is to say for you, Pile 1. Great job. I wish you luck in the new year. Please, if you like this, like the video, comment. I love comments. I do read all of them, and I respond to them. So, yeah, comment, like, subscribe, check out my Instagram where I do astrology readings, and donate to my PayPal, and email me for readings. Thanks again. All right, next. We're moving on to the feather. If you chose that, pile 2, that's you. Usually when I pick these cards, I don't look at them ahead of time, and I kind of want to read them in the moment. The cards today were just jumping straight out when I picked them, so I did kind of see them, and I remember that your reading is more challenging, I would say. I can't remember as much about number 3, but I feel like number 2, you guys have, it's a little bit of a mix here. There's some sort of stuck energy that is keeping you from moving forward. And so maybe we'll see a little bit more about what that is. Oh, and speaking of that, yeah, the Two of Swords. This Two of Swords is interesting because she's not blindfolded. Usually the Two of Swords is blindfolded. It's kind of like stagnation of like, I don't want to make a decision. I don't want to see the truth of a situation. And sometimes it can just be like about making a choice and being stuck. But she is not blindfolded. So I feel like, and it's interesting, like she is still waiting to move forward with a choice, a decision. And the decision, like if I look at the facial expression on this card, it's like, it's less like, la la la, I can't hear you, I don't want to look at this, I don't want to make a decision based on this. It's a little more like a serious decision that you know you have to make. I'm just thinking of situations I've been involved in and other people that have been involved in situations like this. Tough choices. Yeah, this is like a decision that you know you have to make, but it's just hard to make it. Like, it might not be one where you're so, I feel really sad all of a sudden. I feel like you might be really sad, and I'm like, I was really happy the last reading, and I'm just feeling like I'm gonna cry reading this. So I feel like, oh, you've had to make tough choices. Or one really big tough choice. And, moving forwards, it just makes that difficult. But I feel like you made it or you're in the process of making it, but you're struggling with how you feel about it. And we have the Three of Pentacles upside down, so I feel like that has to do with some sort of cooperation that ended, like friendships ending, work relationships that have ended that seemed cool but just had to go for whatever reason. Friendship, cooperation, choosing to cut people out, probably. We have the Lady of the Harvest here, which I love this card. This is a really nice card, but I think that's what this is about. I think it is about letting go of people, places, things. I feel sad enough, and I feel like with this cooperation card that it just feels like friends. It seems like people being cut out of your life, and it doesn't feel good. It's like it's necessary, but it doesn't feel good. We have the Bear upside down. I remember the Bear was about coming out of hibernating, but it's reversed. So let me look at the Bear, and then I'll look at the Lady of the Harvest. Yay, you get to wait. Okay, here it is. I was going to say, you get to wait for me to find the animal. Waking from spiritual slumber, beginning anew, but it's upside down. Withdrawal. The initial weeks and months of this initial spiritual quest may feel tricky, cumbersome, and full of obstacles. But you have no choice, Bear. Winter wanes, the warmth of spring emerges, and your transformation begins. So it's like, you're having, again, this goes along with the Chariot upside down too. Trouble moving forward after a difficult decision. And I think it's one of those things where, like, I saw a reading by someone, and this was really wonderful. She was talking about, God, I can't remember the name of it. It was Pretty Boss something is her name. I know she's on Patreon. On my, where did I share this? On my Facebook. If you go to the Crow Magnum on Facebook, I linked to this reading that she did about healing. It was not really that long, but it was about healing from toxic people and toxic situations, and she was saying part of the reason you can feel stuck, like if you cut this person out and you had to do that, and like it feels bad and you still feel like their energy is around, and like, why can't I move on from this? And even if you're someone who's like good at cutting people out that are not good for you, but this one was really hard, she said that don't discount the healing you've already done. And if you're having difficulty now and thinking about the good things, it's because, like, if it's a person, if now you're thinking of good things about this person when you had to cut them out, it's like, it's because you're healing and you're not bogged down as much by the negativity. And you just kind of have to. The other thing that she said was you have to ride it out. Like when you take medicine, when you're sick, it doesn't instantly heal you. Like, or if you get a wound, it doesn't. Even if you put like, if you bandage it up the right way, it's not going to heal instantly. So it's like you're still feeling the aftermath of this, and you just kind of have to ride it out. Like it'll just the 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 infection, the toxicity will heal. It's just got to take some more time. So it doesn't mean you're not working harder, you're not doing the right thing. It just sometimes takes time to heal. So Lady of the Harvest, completion, grief, loss, harvest, release. Yeah, it goes exactly along with this. You're in a grieving state. But I don't really feel death. I feel like this is like letting go of people. And that's really hard. It's time to accept change to move on to the next phase. That's what the bear card was saying too. The dawn is coming. It's you have to move forward. Power and strength in the present and future come from releasing the past. This is a time of liberation. It's a good way to think about it. And we might as well cooperate with it. It will happen whether you want it to or not. Release and liberation may be painful or joyful depending on the circumstances. Cry if you need to, be joyful if that is appropriate, but in either case, trust the process, acknowledge what you feel, and prepare to move on. This was very consistent. Moving on is hard. It just is. It can be. I mean, sometimes it's really easy. Like, I'm someone that I usually have a really, really, really easy time moving on or cutting people out or whatever, but, sometimes not so much. So 2 clarifiers before I move on. Knight of Pentacles. Interesting. We got Pentacles for the last clarifier for the last pile too. Knight of Pentacles, slow movement forward. You are building, you are healing. It's just kind of slow, and it's a bummer, but like, you're doing the work. It's just gonna take time. 2 of Coins. Change. Change is coming. 2 of Coins can mean juggling. Also, it can mean juggling 2 situations, but I feel like right now it's change. And how this card sort of looks like an infinity symbol. Not completely, but almost. Change is coming. You're not going to feel sad forever. This was necessary. Cry it out if you need to. But you learned a major lesson about letting go. And you're moving through it. It's just going to take time. All right, well, that was you, Pile 2. I hope that helped or resonated. Like this reading if you liked this. Please comment. I love comments. Subscribe, hit the bell so you get notifications about new readings, and check out my Instagram where I do astrology readings, the Cro-Magnum. Email me for personal readings. If you want to know more about what you're dealing with, please email me. And donate to my PayPal if you like this. Okay, cool. Moving on. All right, Pile 3. You have this wonderful labradorite, like very psychic stone, very protective stone. Let's see what your lessons are for your finals that you're wrapping up. First of all, we got this big shift, Wheel of Fortune. You might have had a shakeup that was not awesome or fun, but it's like, this is what we're talking about. This was your finals, like clearing some big, big, big spiritual thing. Your world might have fallen down a little bit in the process, but it's important, especially when I see this 5 of Cups. You might feel like this a little bit, like those cups falling down and spilling. You have 2 behind you. You're just gonna have to let go of some stuff. You just had to like deal with like things falling down a little bit so you can rebuild. We have the Firefly, which I want to look up really quick. I feel like the Firefly is about inspiration. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry, you have to wait for me to look for this. I never look at the cards before I read these, because I feel like I want to read them in the moment, but then that means sometimes I have to search for the card if I want to read about it. Okay, Firefly. Inspired and fantastic, yet fleeting. So you have a moment here. It's interesting. You're not feeling good at this moment, but there is a possibility for inspiration. It's interesting. I felt that way today a little bit. I've been a little bit feeling like this just for physical, mental, emotional reasons, all of them. But then today, my moon is in Virgo in my chart, so, and today happened to be Virgo moon, and before I checked that, I noticed I felt like working and doing things like this, and so it's like seize that moment of inspiration. Our job is to be ready to harness this creative spirit when it graces our path. So yeah, I would say like you went through some stuff, so you might not be feeling so great. But there is going to be this energy of inspiration that's going to cross your path at some point, and jump on it. If you feel like doing something, if you all of a sudden feel that spark, really go with it. We have the Guardian at the gate upside down too, so this is interesting because we should be ready to go through a gate right now. We're going into 2020, but like you're somehow not ready yet. Maybe you're stuck on the difficulty. You might be stuck on the difficulty and you're not seeing that inspiration. You have the Six of Cups here. I love this card because the roots of the tree, it's really about those roots. That's why they're different colors. It can be about nostalgia and thinking about your foundations. So it's not upside down, so it's not showing you to be uprooted. Like if it was like this, I would say that tree is uprooted, but it's really not. But you're reflecting. You're reflecting in a sad way. Like, and it's not reversed though. Like so I would say maybe the roots you're thinking of are good. Like whatever it is that you are reminiscing about is good, but there's sadness related to it. Something happened to you this year. Something happened and now you're not quite prepared to go through this gate yet because everything fell down around you and you're just thinking about that. But if you think about that too much, you're going to miss the spark. Let me clarify this. Oof. Oh, jeez. Sorry, I didn't mean to react like that, but the devil. The devil card is not always bad, but right now, especially with this card I find it... I love these cards, but this card is so creepy. So, yeah, you toxicity. Toxic. So no wonder you feel like this and like this. I don't know if it was your toxic behavior or someone else's. Unfortunately, it feels like it could be... I'm not going to judge anyone because everyone has issues with, like, you can have issues with addiction or with self-destructive behaviors or, it doesn't have to be addiction to, like, drugs either. It can be some unhealthy situation that you are stuck on or were stuck on. You might still be kind of stuck on it. It's being taken away from you, I think. I think toxicity, the toxic situations you put yourself in are being, like, violently removed from you because it was really bad. And if it was your behavior, it's like you're not jumping on this spiritual spark. You're not learning your lessons. So that was taken away and now it feels bad. But if the toxic stuff is what you're losing, that's good. So don't just get stuck in missing the toxicity because it's keeping you from moving forward. Again, I'm not going to judge people for being involved in toxicity because it's not your fault necessarily. Like, some people are shitty, and some people have to deal with those shitty people. And just because you were involved with a shitty person doesn't mean that that's your fault. That's how that works. A lot of toxic people seek out other people to fuck with. But if it was you engaging in toxicity, like you were hurting others or you were lashing out or just doing not good things, the spirit has stepped in and is stopping that from happening. And of course that can feel terrible in the moment, and it's hard to see the good that could come from this. But it's like, if we're talking about finals week, this was crunch time and you weren't moving forward in the way that was necessary and you were doing things that weren't maybe good for you or other people, whatever that means, whether that's you doing bad things or engaging in toxicity. I'm not saying it's not possible for people to do bad things, but it's hard when you're watching this reading. I don't want to just be here going like, you were a shitty person and like now you're getting your lessons, which you might be. Like, anyone can be watching this, I'm just saying it could be either or. You could be someone who engaged in a lot of shitty behavior and now the spirit stepping in to stop that from happening, because this was it. Like, this was when you were supposed to learn your lesson by. Or you were involved with other people that were doing that and you are feeling bad about that, and you're reminiscing on like what went wrong, because this should have been good and why did this happen. So, I'm going to say, like, if you were involved with a person who was engaging in these types of behaviors and now it kind of blew your world apart. So that's what I'll do. If you're dealing with the shitty person and it just destroyed your whole everything, and maybe it was an old friend, someone you knew for a long time that did this, that kind of put you in this place, it was taken away by spirit because it was hurting you and bad for you, and it's time to move on, and move through this gate because you're not ready because you're stuck on this issue. I'm going to clarify with one more. Ace of Spears, that's Ace of Wands, that's like not starting something new and moving forward. So, and this can also mean sexual energy. The Ace of Wands can be like, I'm already cursing in these videos, so yeah, this is like fuckboy kind of energy, but it's not, so like sometimes it's the Knight of Wands, but this can just mean like, this is very sexual, and this is also very sexual. And this was upright and this was reversed, so this looks like bad, toxic, sexual energy, honestly. So either you were dealing with someone like this who kind of like fucked up your whole world. Could have been a group that they fucked up, like a whole group of people, friends, old friends, that dealt with this. Or it could have been you that did this if you're watching this and you have some toxic sexual shit going on. I don't usually say God, I usually say the spirit, but what I'm channeling right now is God is taking this away. God is like, no, that's gotta be over now. That's the end of that. And you probably feel like this. But the advice I think for you would be, I feel like similar to pile 2, you have to ride this out a little bit. And I think the advice is to notice the 2 cups behind you. Like, you have these 3 that fell, but you have these 2 here. And you might have to like sit with it for a while. You might have to sit with, again, I'm hearing for the person that was toxic, you have to sit in your poopy pants, I guess, basically. Like, you have to, it's the bed that you made and you have to lie in it. And it doesn't mean that's going to be forever, but you kind of missed this boat where you had to get your shit together and go to the next level. We have this little firefly here, though. This little spark. This is the one thing here that, like, if you can grab onto this little bit of spirit, that could help you. So, any little spark, anything positive, hold on to that and move forward. And look at this as a lesson about, if you were the one doing toxic things, when you hurt people or you do toxic things, then it doesn't feel good for whatever reason. Whether it's because you get consequences or you have remorse or whatever it is, the point is that it doesn't feel good. And this is how you're going to be for a little while. But it's about learning a lesson. And you didn't on your own, and so the spirit had to step in and kind of push you. So my hope for you is this. I hope that you see the opportunity for spiritual growth. That's what this is. That's this whole painful thing. Everything's falling apart so that you can finally go towards the spirit. You have this little chance still. You could move forward and be better. If you're a person who is dealing with a toxic person, it's just going to take time for you to heal, but don't miss the blessings around you. And if you have a moment of inspiration or insight, focus on it, pay attention. Okay, everybody, that's finals week. There you go, pile 3. I hope that resonated and helps in some way. It's been a tough fucking year, but 2020 actually could be a lot more stable in a lot of different ways, or dynamic in a positive way. because we worked through all this stuff and we ended these important cycles. So anyway, like, share, subscribe, check out my Instagram, email me if you want a private reading. All my information is in the description box, and thanks for watching. Bye!